Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Jeff Cockrell, Dale Carnegie Master Trainer, Certified High Performance Coach, founder of Veteran Academy, where we help veterans break the code on success in the civilian world and then help train them, help equip them for that mission. And also founder of Coaching Mastery Community, where we help coaches increase their impact by building coaching mastery and business mastery within a supportive community. Welcome to day 15 of the Dale Carnegie DC Challenge, my 60-day commitment to show up every day and talk about one of Dale Carnegie's principles. And provide some insight as a master trainer, and hopefully to give you some specific ways to implement that principle each day. And thank you so much for being here, for showing up, for the comments and the engagement. I really appreciate it, and it makes me show up every day. So, all right. By the way, I had a friend of mine call me the other day, and he said, have you done anything after day 8? He actually was calling me up to rib me about it. And I said, yeah, every single day. He said, well, I can't find anything after day 8. So I'm also collecting these. And I'll put them into a product, a course that you can have for free, and have every day one of these show up in your email inbox, so you can remind yourself, hey, here's something I should be focused on today. Anyway, welcome to day 15. I'm excited about this principle because this is one of the ones that requires a lot of self-discipline and a lot of self-confidence to implement. I remember looking over at my petty officer as he explodes out of his chair. Jesus! That is BS. And yes, he did use the long form of the word. A few minutes before, my boss had called me up and said, here's something I want you to do. And I thought it was a waste of time and energy and manpower. And so I told him that. And he said, Roger that, I hear what you're saying. This is an order. I said, aye, sir. Hung up the phone, called up my petty officer. Explained what we wanted to do. And by the way, I'm turning because he was seated at the edge of my desk, not across, edge. And when he explodes out of the chair, I was just like, oh my gosh. I didn't say anything, and in fact, I just watched him as he went over and he just goes over and gets a cup of coffee out of the coffee urn, one of those big 36-cup stainless steel things, and pours a cup of coffee and sets it down on the edge of my desk and gets some creamer in a packet, and he's banging against his knuckles all this time, going. And so he pours it into the cup, stirs it, sits down, and goes. Okay, Lieutenant, I'll do it. And then he did it like it was his idea. I had not said a word. All I had done was just watch. What I was doing was applying principle number 15, which is let the other person do a great deal of the talking. And the reason it comes later in the program is it requires a degree of self-control and self-discipline and self-confidence to do that. Now, he never directed any of his comments at me. It was like a steam safety valve just lifted and whoosh, this stuff's all venting to the atmosphere. Had he directed at me, it would have been a different conversation. But it wasn't. He was just frustrated. And by the way, he was saying the same things I was thinking. But as a leader, my job is not to tell him, I don't agree with this, we need to do it. My job is to say, hey, here's what we need to get done. So, he got it done. And by letting him vent, his pressure equalized, and he acted on it like it was his idea. Now, what was interesting is so often we get into a customer service issue, and the customer service rep does not do that. They cut us off and say, I understand how you're feeling. No, you don't. If you did, you wouldn't have cut me off. And so this is why I think this is such a challenge to do. Whether it is, sometimes we're getting pushback, and we just need to let people vent, or sometimes, and maybe you've had this happen to you, you've thrown out a suggestion, and someone goes, well, that's not a good idea. And before we even have a chance to respond, they go, well, let me see. And they start talking themselves into the idea they just rejected. I know it's happened for me. I'll bet it's happened for you. That's another aspect of this, is just letting those people talk through these things. And as a result, then, we end up with getting greater buy-in. So that's my recommendation. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking, and you'll get more buy-in. Now, that brings us to 3 challenges. So pick one of these, apply it, see what happens. So first one is choose to wait before responding. And we suggest something, and there's that response. Choose to wait. Make the decision. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a heartbeat. I'm going to wait 5 seconds before I say anything. Often they'll continue, and now it becomes a discussion rather than an argument. Second option is to ask questions to get them thinking. Now, this is not questions to prove them wrong. That's a different aspect. Often what happens, people ask these really long questions looking for a yes or no answer, a really short answer. That is the exact opposite of what this principle is about. We ask a short question to get a long answer. And as we become more skillful at this, we can actually help people help them think it through, so they begin to see why it's to benefit and that sort of thing. The third option is refuse to be defensive. When we get pushback on an idea, just make the decision, I'm not going to be defensive about this. Because now we engage differently. And often that person has a chance to speak more. So pick one of those three. Let us know what you picked. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about how do we really help people see things in a different light. Not make them. How do we let them see it that way? I think you're going to like this one. In the meantime, folks, let the other person do a great deal of the talking. You will have more cooperation and you'll knock them alive.